Hey everybody, I've got this old Volvo here, and I've got this problem here, a broken radio antenna. Now, rather than spend 37 minutes sharing unremarkable observations about the antenna, let's just dive right in and fix it. Or more specifically, let's replace it. I got this off of Parts Geek, pretty cheap, came within just a couple of days after I snapped the old radio antenna going through, I know, an automatic car wash machine. First thing I'm going to need is simply a 17mm wrench to loosen the nut and work on this grommet here. I'm going to see if I can avoid having to actually get to the power radio antenna motor, because the break in this antenna happened in the mast itself, and I don't think the ripcord is broken down in there. Now, it just took a moment and I was able to get this loosened where I can lift it straight off. And now we are going to work on getting the antenna itself off, including this sleeve. Little hard to do one-handed while also recording, but let's see how much we can pull out. All right. You can see the snap there from when I was going through the car wash, and in just a little bit I'll show you why this was a particularly avoidable mistake. Bring that up. Here's the ripcord coming. Now let's see, how much more are we able to get, hopefully without scraping the paint too much with the antenna. There we go. That pulled all the way out. Nice and simple. Let's take a closer look at the ripcord here for just a second, and this pretty much confirms the ripcord itself certainly was not broken anywhere in the motor, because this is the way the ripcord should end, or should look at the very end. There's no rip, there's no tear, and it's pretty much the same length as what we have on the new ripcord that comes with the antenna. Before you start installing, you're going to want to make sure that your replacement antenna has everything that your old antenna had. Specifically, you're going to want to look for this sleeve that needs to go toward the bottom of the antenna. From what I understand, not all the replacement parts come with it, but in this case, it did. By the way, you can see the brand and part number that I ordered. I mentioned a moment ago this problem was particularly avoidable, and here's why. This button right here is the antenna down button that you can press to lower your antenna before you go into a car wash or another situation where you need to have your antenna down, but you still wish to have your radio on. And frankly, I just forgot to do that. Now I've turned the key and we're going to use this button to help us here. So if I press it to where the antenna would be going up, see if you hear this. It's trying to bring the antenna up. What we're going to do is use that motor to help bring the ripcord down to put the new antenna in. Again, I've got the key turned, but I don't have the car all the way on. I did turn the radio on, and now I'm going to press the antenna down button to get the motor working in the opposite direction and see if I can't use that to help get the ripcord down. Before pressing that button down though, or turning your radio off, you want to go ahead and thread the ripcord down as far as you possibly can. Now let's see what happens. And there it goes. It happened so fast, guys. I accidentally missed most of it trying to record again, but it was very, very simple. Now, the car thinks the radio is all the way down because you miss a little bit while you're feeding that ripcord down even further. By the way, you want the teeth of the ripcord facing toward the back of the car. So what I'm going to do is turn the switch the opposite direction again, turn it back again, and see if I can't get it to go all the way down. And would you look at that? Now within a span of just a few moments, you are tightening your antenna grommet back with your 17mm wrench, and then we'll test it out just to double check and make sure everything's okay. Moment of truth. There it comes. up all the way. Now, let's hit the button one more time and lower it. Make sure it goes down all the way. Nice. Our final check is to make sure that radio stations that were not coming in very clearly at all the last couple of weeks are indeed now coming in clearly.
What your husband needs is clear and concise communication. And to put
I don't know about what your husband needs, but the radio needs have now been met. It's always nice when the repair to something is quicker and simpler and frankly cheaper than you would expect. In this case, you can see where the brake was on the old antenna. Sounded terrible when I was going through the car wash and that happened. Normally I wash my cars by hand, but with 99-degree weather and 95% humidity in central Alabama recently, that just wasn't in the cards. Now, if this ripcord had been broken in the motor, that would have been a whole different situation that we would have been facing. We would have went and consulted with the release points on the carpet on the side of the trunk, gotten to the motor itself, and taken a few parts apart. I'm going to put a link in the description of this video to another Volvo owner who shows you how to do that. And he shows you how to do it very quickly, no nonsense, none of the 5 minutes of click on this and subscribe here and all those sorts of things you see with some different channels. So I hope this provided some help for you. Have a great day ahead.